Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, how's everything been doing? I hope everything's been doing absolutely well for all of us. Okay, so my name is Winnie Nur Aini. I'm from B class in English Education Department in the State Islamic Institute of Palangkaraya. This video was an assignment for English Material Development course, and the lecturer of this course is Mr. Abdul Shahid. Okay, so in this video, I would like to review two textbooks. It's an English textbook that prepared by the government for all the students in Indonesia, and we can access it in this link. Okay, so I choose two textbooks. The first textbook is student English textbook for 11th grade, and the second textbook is teacher English textbook for 11th grade. Okay, so it's like a packet. Yeah, the first one is for student and the second one is for teacher. Actually, if I told to compare those two textbook, I would like to say that I cannot compare those two textbook because from the purpose of the textbook, it's already totally different because the first one is for student and the second one is for teachers, and the interface of the textbook is also different. Before I review it based on the 8 core principles that prepared by Willy Arenandia, I would like to say that the interface of the teacher's English textbook in here is totally different from the student's English textbook. In teacher's textbook, only there's a lesson plan for each chapter. There is no activity that will be faced by the students, and I think if the textbook is printed, it will be pricey because as a teacher they need to have two textbooks. The teacher's textbook that already has a lesson plan, and the second one is the student textbook that will be faced by the student, so they know what the student face. So it will be pricey. I hope that the teacher's textbook is also there's a student activity that there's in a student textbook. I hope. Okay, so I will review the textbook in 8 core principles, and I will give my opinions toward the textbook based on the principle, and I will also show in the textbook based on the principles. Okay, so for the first principle, it's the primacy of input. Okay, so we talk about the first principle, input. Okay, when it comes to input, maybe we can connect it with extensive reading and extensive listening. So extensive reading and extensive listening is the material of reading and listening that is comprehensible, highly comprehensible. At least the student know 90% of the words in the material, so they could enjoy it. Yeah, so it should be comprehensible and it should be enjoyable. And also the textbook need to make sure that the student will face the material not only in the classroom but also in the outside of the classroom, so they could relate it with their daily life. When the students can relate it with their daily life, so I will show you the input in here. There's a lot of reading activity in here that in my opinion it's comprehensible and also it's enjoyable because as you guys can see in here, it's about the story and it could be enjoyable for the 11th grade, and it's also comprehensible. The word is comprehensible for the student in the 11th grade level. Oh yeah, for the extensive listening, actually I couldn't find an activity that provide a listening activity for student that to the point it's a listening activity, but there's some conversation activity in here that need a student to listen, so it also provide a listening activity. And also when the teachers explain the material, it's also a listening activity. And as I see from the textbook, it's it's really relate to the students' daily life. As you guys can see in the list of contents, offers and suggestion, opinions and thoughts, party time, national disaster, and an exposition. The situation that built in the textbook is already relate to the environment of an 11th grade student in Indonesia. So I think it's already good. About the teacher's textbook. Okay, so because it's a teacher's textbook, there is we will never face a picture or a reading activity in here, but there's a lesson plan in here, and let's review the lesson plan. Is there a reading activity or listening activity? Let's see it. Okay, I will show you in here. There's an activity that tells the student to read reading materials, and also a listening time. That is when a conversation activity where the first student need to speak and the second student need to listen. So it's a listening time. So there's an input in here. And now we talk about the second principle, meaning focus output is important. Okay, for the input before, it's for the input we talk about reading and listening. It's an input because we put something on us. And for the output, it comes to speaking and writing. And the thing that important in here is the speaking and the writing task in the teaching and learning language program. It should be comprehensible and enjoyable for the student. It should not be too difficult for the student that the student couldn't enjoy it, and it will reduce the motivation of the student to learn English. And for the textbook, okay, so in this textbook, there's a task for the student to talk with their friends. It's a group activity, and it's for the output. So I say that for the output in here, it's already good. And then for the writing, okay, so there's a task about writing too in here. As we can see in here, let's go to the Susiaf restaurant for lunch. Okay, so in here, the textbook already prepared a written activity for the students. It's an output, and it's related with the material that already discussed in one chapter. So it's good. I think for the task and assignment in the textbook for 11th grade in this textbook, it's already appropriate for the 11th grade. It's appropriate with the level, so it's already good. It's not too easy, but it's not too difficult. Okay, now let's discuss about the principle number 3. Do not overteach the grammar. Okay, grammar is important. Don't say that grammar is not important, but don't overteach the grammar. Don't force the student to learn about grammar, especially a complex grammar that not relate with the materials. Okay, so the principle about teaching grammar in the language class is the grammar should relate with the materials in the chapter that relate to the life in not only in the classroom but also in the outside of the classroom. As example, for the first chapter, offers and suggestion, there's a grammar activity in here, but the grammar exposed after the materials. As we see in here, the students already practice about the conversation, about offers and suggestion, and after that, the textbook give an explanation about the grammar of how to make a sentence about suggestion and offering, and it's good. Okay, for the fourth principle, focus on high frequency words. As I seen here, the words that choose is already a high frequency. The vocabulary use is already acceptable for the 11th grade students in Indonesia. It's comprehensible and a high frequency words that choose in daily life. So it's already good. as they need to use high frequency words. It's repeat again and again, not only input something on your student's head, but also repeat it again and again until the student comprehend words very well. That's the point. Okay, for the principle number 5, teach words in meaningful chunks. Chunks, a part of a sentence. Okay, it's usually used in the daily life. So when you want to talk like a native, use a chunks, a meaningful chunks. Okay, I found it. As you can see in here, it's a chunks that already discussed in the textbook. So let's call it, yes, there's principle number 5 in the textbook. Principles number 6, focus on fluency development. Okay, for the fluency, the student need to meet a familiar words till it becomes fluency. It's same with the fourth principle before. The textbook not only input new words and new vocabularies again and again, but also repetition till it becomes fluency, till they reach the fourth level of the words. They know it and they know the meaning of it and they know how to use it in a variety of contexts. That's the focus. And for the principle number 7, motivation is key to language learning. Okay, for the motivation, there are 5 T's of motivation. The first one is teacher. So it's based on the teacher. Is the teacher good? Is the characteristic of the teacher is already good, humble, kind, and motivate the student every learning activity. And for the second T is teaching method. Is the teaching method already good? Is already appropriate for the student, for the environment of the class, and etc. And the third one, task. Okay, from the task, it's what we can see from the textbook, because the first T and the second T we can see it from the textbook. But for the 3 and 4 and 5 T, we can see it through the textbook. In my opinion, the task, the text, and the test in the textbook is already good for increase the motivation of the student, because the test is relate to the student daily life, not only in the class but also in the outside of the class. And also, it's not too easy but it's not too difficult that the student could enjoy it. They still could enjoy it, and for the text, it's still enjoyable in my opinion. So it's already good. The textbook and the teacher's textbook is already good to increase the motivation of the student. And the last principle is amount and intensity of instruction go hand in hand. Okay, so as we can see in the teacher's textbook, there's 18 meeting in one semester, and every one meeting there's 90 minutes. Actually, it's already enough for one meeting. 90 minutes in one meeting, it's good. But one meeting in 1 week, is it already good? For me, it's not. Okay, so I think that's all the review that I can give in this video. I'm not give a lot about teacher's textbook and student's textbook because actually I'm a bit confused. The teacher's textbook and the student's textbook is totally different. As I said before, the purpose of the textbook is different. But as I can state, in the teacher's textbook, there's an instruction for those 8 principles, and that applied in the in the student's textbook. So I can say that the teacher's textbook and the student's textbook that prepared by the government for the students in Indonesia is already good, as long as the teachers could apply all of the steps in the teacher's textbook in the lesson plan. So that's all that I can say. Once again, thank you for your attention. Stay healthy and see you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.